Davod's plan. Underground in his private chamber within the House of the Makers, Davodd pondered the plight of his sister Diandra. He still could not believe that the Atlanteans would make no effort to save the Moria. He laid the blame on the fact that many of his people secretly looked down on the Lemurians as inferior to themselves. They were thought to be too emotional, too willful, too primitive to be equals of the spiritually refined, technologically advanced Atlanteans. Of course, that was what the Atlanteans criticized about him too. Maybe he secretly contained some Lemurian blood. Suddenly, Davo's keen, searching intellect found the solution that he had been seeking. His thoughts raced ever faster. Could I do it? Dare I attempt it? Do I have sufficient knowledge? Davodd felt the thrill of a challenge tingle throughout his brain. Leaping up with excitement, Davodd left his chamber. He departed the house of the makers through the system of underground tunnels, a maze of passageways which turned this way and that. Myriad intersections forced him to stop and focus on his intuition clearly. He began walking with a sure step and a steady purpose. Davodd knew not how he would do what he had now pledged to accomplish, but this somehow he would. Finally he could see the dim glow of deep indigo light coming from the end of the passageway he followed. He was almost at his destination. The tunnels slanted upwards and soon emerged outside. Here the air was charged with electrical currents of both forces. He took care with each step to remain directly in the center of the path. It wound its way up the side of the hill and stopped directly in front of a black, highly polished marble wall. Davodd stopped here perplexed. Now I need the password to enter through this wall, and I know it's not. Pulling a long thin key crystal from his robe, he pointed it at the wall, saying something that sounded like Aslan. Davodd walked straight ahead into the wall and knocked his head against the hard stone surface. "Oh!" he exclaimed, rubbing his forehead. "Well, it's obvious that the password for the Golden Gate does not work on this wall. I must discover the correct words." He tried several different combinations, each time raising his crystal and stepping full of authority towards the wall until he crashed into it again and again. Davodds felt tears of frustration and anger begin to wet his eyes. "I've got to get through this wall soon. I've wasted enough time as it is." He set his mind to searching, scanning his problem from every intricate angle possible. Even without knowing the password, there has to be a way to circumvent the entire process, he thought. Then he remembered some of the experimental research that he had done on the power of sound. Yes, that is the secret. I just have to find a sound that acts as a master key, a vibration that will unlock any door. He exulted, knowing that he had almost discovered the answer. Sitting down, Davodd totally stilled his being as he had been trained to do. His heartbeat became slower and slower, his breathing subsided, and he entered a state of absolute quiet. He sat there lost in the great silence. Then it came, very quietly it came. At first it was a tiny whisper lost in the wind. He couldn't discern it clearly. Then louder and louder it became until it was the only sound he had ever known. It filled his entire being, like echoing a sounding sound, until at last there was no separation between him and the sound. He became the sound. Finally Davodd opened his mouth slowly, opened his throat widely, and gave birth to the sound. His entire body vibrated in harmony to the wave patterns of the sound. This sound, as his voice proclaimed it aloud. Then standing up, Davodd walked straight through the wall. Inside all was path and bright yellow light. Davodd stood still, listening to a steady hum emanating from something inside the room. He suddenly hoped that no one else was here. Up until now he hadn't dared to consider the possibility of what would happen to him if he were discovered in that secret place unbidden. Icy pangs of coldest fear took possession of his body, sending forth great chills that turned his insides watery. He waited, yet felt no other presence. Looking up, Davodd noticed a tall crystal pyramid atop the chamber. He recognized that the substance had been an invention of the makers. His interest quickened when he saw in the center of the room a three-sided smaller pyramid, located directly underneath the apex of the larger four-sided one. That has to be it. Now where do I begin? Davodd had now calmed his fear sufficiently to set off exploring the perimeters of the room. He spotted a control panel built into the wall, which looked like a large slab of crystal with a dial on the right side. As he inverted his key crystal into a small hole at the top, symbols immediately began flashing across the face of the rock. Ever changing like a mirage. I have activated it. Suddenly felt a flash of confidence while remembering that he had worked on a crude prototype of this years before. Trying to remember the process, he began by setting the dial to the symbol for Miriam, then Abraham in particular, and sure enough the same symbol soon appeared on the rock face. Davodd's cheeks flushed crimson with excitement as Diandra's name and her personal symbol flashed into view. Now I must be careful, very careful, he cautioned himself. He knew well that the slightest mistake would have disastrous consequences. Going to the three-sided pyramid, Davodd ascertained that it was truly empty save for the larger chunk of smoky quartz. Then he carefully closed the chamber's glass door. Returning to the control panel, he pressed the lever marked Quackroom. A great suctioning noise could be heard within the smaller pyramid. Then he placed his crystal into the activate one slot. Lights flashed, causing the symbols upon the rock to rapidly change colors. Next, the crystal was moved into activate 2 position. This caused the center pyramid to glow a deep ruby red. Davodd felt his body begin to shake uncontrollably. Please, please, let me do this correctly, he pleaded. His trembling hand moved to the crystal and activated 3. At once all the lights in the room were extinguished. Nothing could be seen except for dimly flickering symbols on the stone in front of him and the deep redness of the pyramid. Even the hum had ceased. Oh no, I've done something wrong. I've ruined it. I've probably killed her. No, no. He sobbed. Diandra, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Davodd's knees crumbled. He sank to the floor, despairing that he had never dared to come here. His cries wrecked the silence, and his spent at last he lay deep in silent grief. This pitiful man was so locked into his tragic peril that it took him a while to notice that the hum had returned and the lights were flickering their way back to normal. Davodd was touched by the terrible fear of the awesome forces that he had just tampered with. Glancing at the center of the pyramid, he noticed that the redness had gone. Getting up, Davodd began to tread steps towards it, keeping his eyes averted, frightened of what he might see or not see. He approached the door and stopped, shutting his eyes tightly. Now he must take full responsibility for what he had wrought. Taking a deep breath, he uttered a short prayer and opened his eyes. Inside the pyramid was the fragile form of a woman. Her hands were pressed tightly to her temples, her eyes were open but saw not. Her face bore an expression of agony. She did not move. God, help us! Davodd screamed as he flung open the door and tried to gather the rigid form of Diandra into his arms. He could not move her save lift her head up slightly and push back the masses of blonde hair from her face. "I'm sorry, Diandra, I'm sorry. Oh God, what have I done?" His voice choked with raw emotion. "Who dares to trespass here?" thundered a voice filled with righteous wrath, which cut through Davodd like a laser beam. Davodd looked up through his tears and saw, oh no, the terrifying, formidable figure of Dr. Zad looming before him in his deep blue ceremonial robes, then almost blackness. Crystal surgery. The word was spinning wildly. The excruciating pain throbbed with an unrelenting fierceness. It was as if hundreds of beggars stepped and twisted and never let up. Davod's final cry shrieked across the horizon. "I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Diandra. I have learned my lesson. I will never break the law again. Forgive me, please." Then silence. Silence as still as death itself. For Davodd it was a merciful silence. The pain had finally ripped him apart from his physical form, and he knew no more of this world. He had been forced to live again and again, stripped from knowledge of old memories, until that day would dawn far into the future, when the remembering would return and he would be tested once more. For Diandra the pain remained. She had been taken into Oralim, the temple of the creative healing wisdom, and placed in a small chamber filled with the emerald green ray of healing. Alora stood close by her side with an aura of deep concern. Opposite her stood Dr. Zed, his face grave. They had been laboring over her for hours. Nay, it had been days. Days and nights without nourishment or sleep, just trying to pull Diandra out from her hellish nightmare place of paralyzing pain. She moved now, violent, jerky, uncontrolled movements as she thrashed out about on the pallet. Low moans and house screams of terror escaped her parched lips. Alora looked over to Dr. Zed, who nodded his head to her with weary understanding. So far nothing had brought Diandra out of this state. There was but one thing left to try. This, they both knew. The last hope, the ultimate process which they always thought to avoid unless all else had failed, was crystal surgery. Aurora personally prepared Diandra. Removing her coverings, she applied an ointment to her naked body composed of pulverized gold and lapis lazuli among other highly secret ingredients. Attendants held down Diandra's twitching limbs until the task was completed. Then she lay still at last, falling deeply into a trance state, her body covered in a paste of sparkling blueness. Dr. Sad had placed a pouch containing the appointed crystal upon a small altar. He was lost in concentration as he began his invocation. This crystal was so extremely powerful that it was kept buried in a hidden place except for the rare occasions when it was needed. Only the High Priestess Aurora and Dr. Zad had the authority and full knowledge to use it properly. The crystal was carefully unwrapped by Aurora and placed within a carved amethyst bowl, while Dr. Zad intoned the necessary prayers. Then Dr. Zad carefully picked up the crystal and held it aloft in both hands. It was quite unlike any other crystal. The base was heavy and white, containing small works of sparkling black set with tiny red crystals, although fused into it were pebbles of purest white. The six sides of this double terminated crystal focused into the sharpest of points at one end, while the opposite end had multiple points. The interior itself was unfathomable. A small prism appeared and vanished into the changing mist of numerous dimensions. Its primary color was a transparent pale golden hue. Yes, this crystal was capable of multiple functions, which revealed themselves only after one had been initiated into its mysteries. Dr. Sad held the crystal high above him. He delicately thought within himself for the correct usage of the crystal for Diandra. Beginning at her feet, he moved it up her body carefully, never actually touching her with the crystal. It was of utmost importance that he remained fully attuned to the balance of energy. If he gave her too much voltage from the crystal, the damage would be severe and irrevocable. The hermit wishes to speak with you here, if I may. I am not at liberty to reveal to you the exact form of the surgical process which is taking place. This form of healing should not be attempted by anyone save the highly evolved ones who already carry this knowledge. It is exceedingly dangerous in the hands of the uninitiated. I might add that a few of these rare crystals are still in existence upon this earth, even in the present age. They shall be found and recognized by those who carry the knowledge for their proper usage, and possibly they shall be of great benefit to mankind at some future date. When Dr. Z had finished, he again raised the crystal skyward, evermore continuing with his prayers and invocations. Then turning to Aurora, he said, "She shall sleep now. Our work is complete. Diandra will awaken in about 3 days, and only then shall we know the full extent of her healing." Dr. Seth departed silently to cleanse and secret the crystal.